Alright, do not got video production. No, presentation. So, apparently it's some sort of controversy, and I wish to be understanding and, non-violent in my reaction to whatever it is. Don't wish to be offensive, but frankly, I just don't know how I'm going to avoid it. I mean, there's aspects of this that are just too silly, and they deserve sort of silly description and mockery, and I'm don't know if I'm disciplined enough to avoid doing that. Frankly, my personality defect, I suppose, but part of me says, who wants to live dressed up in these little suits, pretending to be little polite men, and role playing. The very thing I was commenting on in the video is the fact that all these roles and all these cultural values, these statements about who loves you and who hates you, right? I mean, I was essentially saying in the video, right before the comments that are just too offensive, that, these Christians are pretending they love you. They say it overtly. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. They'll dress and they'll present themselves in such a sympathetic manner and all this crap. And do you think they really do feel your pain, or they give a shit about you in any way whatsoever? They just want to control you. That's all they're about, is controlling things. They're not about caring about them or what's their interest. They just don't want them to break into their houses, and they don't want them to steal their goodies. And so they need a God to punish them so they won't do it. They'll be afraid. They have no interest in your welfare, okay? They just have an interest in preserving theirs. They resent people having casual sex because they don't get any. That's the gist of it. They resent other people having sex, period, because they're not getting any. Because of all it's a mortal sin and all that kind of crap. And they can only do it to make babies. They can't do it to just have fun. And they resent other people having sex. They don't want to stop abortions because they give a shit about fetuses or souls or any of that crap. They only want to stop it because they want to stop you from having sex. And especially stop you from having uninhibited sex. Sex where you feel, you feel that. You feel, not worried, not scared, not paranoid about pregnancy and all this other stuff. So they just want to make your life miserable. They don't care about you, but they pretend to, and they wear the clothing as if that's what they're doing. So that's what I was basically talking about, how it's all professional wrestling. It's all silly role playing. Nobody's in it for anything real. The Russians aren't fighting the Chinese, or blah, 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 blah. Monster Man isn't, fighting for whatever, chocolate cake. These fake battles they're having about these fake stories and this fake nonsense and this fake fight. I mean, the whole thing is fucking fake, and our culture is full of these fake values that don't really get to the core of anything. They don't seem to understand what the real thing of value is, and instead they're worshipping the frickin' toes of the dragon, not the dragon, or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, the point is, that's the point I was making. So I don't know what else. So anyway, so I said something apparently that's, too violent, too this, too that, whatever. I mean, I'm on the record saying I'd pass a law against it. I'm on the record saying there's just about, most of the legislation that would help people who are psychiatrically confused in some way about whether they're human or not, whether they're, teddy bears, or they want to be a raccoon or something. I don't care. Okay, fine. I'll call you Mr. Raccoon. I don't care about any of that crap. I understand you're not taking anything from me because you want to identify as something, so I'm all on your side. But it's still ridiculous. It doesn't change the fact that I'm doing it because I'm sympathetic to your position, but I don't sit there and say your position is entirely rational and perfectly reasonable, because it really isn't, But I'm still on your side, and it's just so funny that they'll treat me like I'm somebody who, ties raccoon people behind his truck and kills them, pulls their heads off, and, I mean, it's just so bad and so silly. This mischaracterization. So that part's offensive. I hate people who lie, and this is just a lie to imply that I somehow placate rape. I've said it quite clear. Deterrence is fundamental. It's all there is. All right, you don't punish people to punish them. You punish them to create prevention. See, I'm the one talking the prevention philosophy, fuckheads. And prevention requires certain instrumentality. It requires you to create a certain system of reward and punishment if you want to accomplish prevention. Shit for brains. All right. So anyway, that's the context. So this video was okay. This No Joy in Life guy is sort of saying what I was saying, but not really. And then he gets onto the cat subject and screws it all up too. So maybe I'll play that. But we'll do me first, I guess. So this is some context, not too much context. So I just made the professional wrestling comparison, and here we go.
Fable? About little heaven gods and little magic gremlins, and I mean, if they came here and did that, right, somebody should make that sci-fi movie.
Right, so I'm basically talking about these people have a nothing as a philosophy, and yet they're respected. And they're controlling our ethics and our definition of what's right and wrong. And their entire philosophy is based on gingerbreadism and strawhouseism and golden hairism, or talking bearism. It's nonsense values.
And everybody would just be aghast and like, this movie sucks.
Right. So I'm saying if you made an aliens movie and the aliens came to Earth and they're full of fables and they're holding up holy bibbles, with silly fable-y stories about how they're the chosen aliens and some other kind of crap, we'd be like, what the fuck? The fucking aliens are Jehovah's Witnesses? Oh, fuck. Sci-fi wouldn't be fun anymore, would it?
Aliens are retarded.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, I think it may very well be true that people are not. It is ahead of its time in the sense that people are not ready for any kind of honest debate, and people.
Right. So old fan says that stuff, but then she does a hysterical overreaction to a word thing again. So these precious sacred words. It's just kind of funny, right? You can say dickhead, you can't say cunthead. Okay, double standard, I think. If you're really a feminist, why the sacredness here? I don't, it's kind of bullshit. Anus head, we can say anus head. Lots of people get raped in the ass. How come that's okay to talk about asses? Asses are free territory, but vaginas aren't. I mean, vaginas have to be in a special sacred category. And the only reason why they ever were historically is only because they're the baby generator, right? So the very subject of being too obsessed with babies and procreation and nataling and all this bullshit is exactly the thing they're tripping over. The sacred vagina. It wouldn't be so fucking sacred if it was just a fuck pouch.
Always want to sit on the fence or just not.
I should put up more language here, a little more. So I was just talking about how debate never gets to the real subject. What's really at stake? Like in the right to die. Oh, what's really at stake is you either waste a bunch of suffering or you don't waste it. That's all that's at stake. There's nothing else at stake. It's either waste a whole bunch of pointless and needless suffering or not. Gee, that's such a tough decision.
Have it all, and I mean, we do live in a culture where even reality TV is scripted, and so people do.
But it's all professional wrestling. Yeah. It's all fake battles, fake warriors, fake histories, fake everything. And then and that's what the debate ends up being: is some academic pile of crap, so sterile and so distant from the actual things that are happening.
Right. So you can't even have a conversation, about death outside of their it's a soul and a spirit and so without you can never tell any rational story about anything existing without making it out of their gingerbread. Well, if that has to be the premise, it should be already stated before the debate even starts that this is a complete waste of time, okay? Because I have no obligation to believe in gingerbread.
What purpose is that kind of debate? I'm not saying people should just yell "I hate you" at each other.
Well, it can't hurt, frankly. It's really what really the whole point is to say, don't tell me you love me, you son of a bitch. You want to torture me, you want to control me, you want to do lots of things, but you don't love me, you fucking cunt. So don't lie to my face and tell me you fucking love me. You're not treating me like you love me. You want to fucking force me to do a bunch of unnecessary suffering. It's quite obvious it's unnecessary, quite stupid. Because you're invested in some gingerbread story. How the fuck is that my friend? That's not my friend. My friend doesn't tell me I have to live in a gingerbread house. That's not somebody who's out for my interest. When they're giving me advice and the advice is go build a gingerbread house, they're not worried about my welfare.
I mean, obviously you have to make rational arguments, but I'm just saying there are a tremendous number of rational arguments that can be pointed out how religious people's behavior is sadistically evil.
Yes, I mean, there's just not a nice thing about them, okay? They're just wearing this fake costume of loving angel, pretty hope, and it has not a fucking thing to do with that because the disrespect is so fucking obvious. They have absolutely no right to presume their fable is the truth. They know they don't have the evidence. They know they don't have the argument. That's why they just say something, well, you have to have faith. Because they can't make a rational fucking argument. And yet they're so fucking arrogant and so busy trying to control everybody else. Because they think they're above it, of course. They don't need to believe in a silly God, even though those are supposed to be the believers, who obviously don't believe. Like I said, all you need is a really cheap hooker to trip one of them up. I mean, you don't even have to work on her very hard. She doesn't even have to be that fucking pretty, okay? And you can seduce these people away from their holy scripture. Fuck.
I mean, it is imposing harm. They are not saving the poor. They are not saving the sick. They are imposing torture on.
Right, so when somebody tells me they love people, or they tell me they love cats, or they tell me they love something, they love, right, I shouldn't be suspicious. When it's all over the place, people claim to care when no, what they care about is Gaia. They care about the holy Gaia, or the holy circle of bullshit, or some other crystal angel god, or some other fucking wooey pile of crap. Human spirituosity, quantum spiritual notion-y. I mean, it's all fucking bullshit.
On them. They should see them, they should be seen for the Mengelesque horrors that they are.
Right, yeah, Mengele thought it was all worth it, okay, because he discounted, it's a Jew, they don't feel anything. They're horny things, and, they're not much better than horned toads. And I wouldn't worry about cutting horned toads to pieces. So, he has some notion in his head where he's got it completely wrong. And he has no excuse for saying, oh yeah, I really believe the crap I just told myself, that it's okay to cut them up, but it wouldn't be okay to cut my kids up. Oh yeah, I somehow believe that crap. It's so unbelievable. And the religious people are doing exactly the same thing. The lie they're telling themselves and other people is just that. A grotesque, ugly, disgusting lie. And it's just to justify them winning and you losing.
Spend all this money on their fucking cathedrals and the hypocrisy of it. No engraven images. They got engraven images all over the fucking place.
Yeah, and we should be at a point finally where we can say that without much trouble. But it is an incredible shame that we apparently are not.
Well, yes, apparently now I'm going to say something like I'm going to use the word benign rape. Like there's a kind of rape that really isn't that bad. Like if I was going to prison, right, I would really don't want to go to prison because I don't want to be brutally raped in prison. But if I found out that the worst brutal rape is that some giant 7-foot guy named Bubba wants to stick a thermometer in my butthole. Yeah, that's his version of it. Whatever, knock yourself out. yeah, I'm going to consider that a fairly benign experience. Okay, it's really not going to trigger me into mental disorder, and it's not going to shake my worldview, and I'm not going to be completely destroyed. And it's just a fact that that's how crimes come. They come in varying degrees, and some are not so bad, and some are horrifically horrible, and they have the same word on the murder. For example, you're a murderer if you unplug Karen Ann Quinlan without permission. Jack Kevorkian was convicted of murder, right? Is there any sign of a murder anywhere? No, not really. This is pathetic. So they have this sacred word again, this sacred word.
I'm supposed to, like I said, I'm supposed to hate the rapist. Well, why should I hate him more than I hate these other people who are causing so much more harm?
Right. If I was to put it on a scale somewhere, it's taking an extra 3 years to die. 3 years you didn't want, or even people like me who have been suicidal since they're 5, and being forced to grind through and just keep, pushing through this cesspool of fucking vomit. That's no crime there, because that's not a sacred word, whatever that crime is, this imposing thing. But, you stuck a thermometer in somebody's butt, the world must come to an end. No, it's the proportions are way out of whack, and that's the point. The things that are of suffering being the most valuable thing on earth, and the religious people take no account of it. It's almost a token they would like to give to God. I tortured somebody. Love me. I mean, essentially that's what Mother Teresa was doing, right? I mean, she was earning holy brownie points by forcing people to die the worst way possible, as God would like you to. I mean, it's just upside down and backwards, the values. And that's sort of my point about these anti-natalists, or these human-centric ones, or whatever the fuck you're supposed to call people. These assholes who think humans are the problem, and don't get it, that the problem is living things exploiting other living things, because they're all selfish machines. And the ones that aren't selfish are even more maniacally sick, in terms of, then you get into termites and bees and the hive mentality that turns things into slaves to some sort of objective for which remains rather ambiguous as to what exactly is accomplished. Slaves building pyramids.
Yeah.
I mean, they're torturing people. The rapist is just looking to get off. So, I mean, some rapists are pretty benign, right? I mean, they just tackle the woman, say, I just need something to, hump, and then I'll be all out of your way. So, I mean, it could be semi-benign rapist, right? Yeah.
All right, so she says no. She laughs. What do you mean it can't be? Of course there can be. I can describe all kinds of circumstances where the victim, woke up the next day and said, yeah, well, that was stupid, but yeah, it was pretty good. Maybe I'll date him again. The same crime was committed. The guy did hear no, and he decided, well, I can push it a little bit. So he committed the crime. I'm not suggesting anybody ever ignore the no. I've never suggested that. I'm not suggesting rape is a good thing. I'm just saying that sometimes it turns out okay. It's just a fucking fact. All right, you don't like facts? Well, it's a fucking fact. Shit. I'm not defending rape. I'm just pointing out that, it's not all the same thing. There isn't this sacred word, and you violated the sacred concept, and that's all there is to the subject. The subject's a little more complicated than that. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's how every single crime is. There's gradations of the crime. There's people who are guiltier than other people. Fuck.
Well, I think it's semi-benign in the sense that they're not shitting in your throat or something. So, I mean, it's all relative. Well, I'm just saying, I don't see that as meaning anything. I'm just saying the real harm is the real harm. So, yes, it depends on the victim, of course, how much harm it's going to be, too.
Yeah, so this isn't some fact you people are unaware of, that it really does this. Kind of depends on the person. Some people might be horrified at the idea of a thermometer in their ass. It just might wipe them out. It doesn't wipe me out, okay? You could use examples like if we had to get some injection, a needle stuck in our arm and an injection of a fluid. Some people find that creepy and horrible. You can stick needles in me all day. I couldn't give a shit. It's that kind of thing. But then other things, I can't, these people who vomit every 15 minutes or something and say, oh, that's okay. I don't get that. But whatever. I'm just saying that, there's nothing, again, so these are the people who are supposed to be feminists, supposed to be believers in this equality, and they're the ones who want to keep a whole set of words sacred, being part of some sacred thing. They're not the same as the other subjects. Males can't be violated the same way a special woman can be violated, or some kind of bullshit like that. Clearly women are more vulnerable. They need greater protection. Do I have to say all of this stuff again? Do I have to explain to you that I'm perfectly sympathetic, that women should never feel afraid, and that it's partly men who have to make sure their fellow men know that you're going to shrink in integrity as a human being, as a man, if you have to steal it? That you got to earn it? Oh, fuck. Well, never mind. It's just, these are people who just want to hate. So again, they don't like something I've said, and now they have to create a whole fake personality to go with this thing they don't like about me. So they have to exaggerate and twist and bend the circumstance into something that wasn't said at all, to satisfy their right to hate me. And it's usually they hate me because I got a cooler upper lip than they do. Their disposition. I'm just trying to say that there's clearly proportional relationship between what I'm supposed to hate in the world and the stuff that I think is so much worse. Right. I'm trying to make the point that there's all this cultural crap that says this is valuable. And that's not the value. The value is the people. The value is the worker. For example, the workers are the value in the economy. The ones doing productive work. That's all right. The ones actually stringing cable lines and fixing generators and making servers work. Those are the people. Those are the workers that are productive. They're the value of the economy, not the owners and not the government employees sitting on their ass collecting a check because they have a union that extorts free rights to do whatever the fuck they want, or the teacher with tenure that says I can fuck with my students any way I wish to and you can't fire me, and that kind of horse shit. The real values aren't being respected, is my point. And this fake crap things, they make them out to be the, oh, aren't they sympathetic? No, they're not sympathetic. So, right. So even you could argue about this whole coronavirus. I mean, more than 10,000 people a year die from food poisoning from seafood. Right. No one's had any. It's been going on decade after decade after decade. No hysteria. No, we've got to do something. Oh, this is horrible. So, again, where's the values here? They're all broken, right? We spent billions, literally billions of dollars compensating the victims of 9/11. They didn't die any worse than the average victim of a drunk driver. We don't give anything to those victims. You get killed by your father gets killed by a drunk driver. The government doesn't show up and say, "Hey, we'll take care of you. You're orphaned now. We'll take care of you in some way commensurate to your father." No, we'll let you live in a fucking homeless shelter. That's how much we'll give you. Is there some difference in the qualitative fact of the experience? Is the victim any more raped? But somehow one of them's a real one and the other one is not. That's the point of these arguments, shit for brains. Oy. And that's every year, all right, for the last, they could say the last 30. Okay, so we don't need to do more of this. We'll just do this other thing on the cat subject. So, somewhere in here.
There's not much of an issue. The whole benign rapist thing, literally what he was saying.
Yes, and then I qualified it by saying semi-benign, just because we have to pretend it's never benign. well, obviously the intent of the person is something to do with the event, and how much harm it does to the victim is something to do with the event. And so, in my opinion, sometimes it ends up being benign. It works out for everybody. It just happens that sometimes that's how it works out. Sometimes it works out being drunk driving. Does that mean I'm saying we should get rid of laws against drunk driving? No. What I am saying, though, is that we should make them proportional. That is, just because you happen to be unlucky and kill somebody, you shouldn't get 20 years in prison when the guy who didn't kill somebody gets 20 weeks in rehab. That's a crazy inequity. A silly one. They had exactly the same intent when they got in the car. How the fuck do you have this bizarre difference in the outcome merely because one got lucky and one got unlucky? Come on. Again, it's so stupid, and it's so obviously stupid. And that's what our whole fucking culture is running on, is this wheel of stupid proportions, stupid inequities. Really just overtly stupid ones.
Listened 5 seconds before.
I mean, you could go even to disabilities, right? I mean, if you have the right disability, that is, it makes you look funny and it makes you act funny, they'll throw money at you. But if you're mentally ill and you look perfectly okay, nothing's flying around, your eyeballs aren't going in and out, nothing's dramatic happening, it's all the problem is inside your brain. It's invisible, the pain, the disability. We don't even say, who cares? Fuck you. You don't look crazy enough. That's what really happens in the world. Does it make sense? We'll just throw you on the street, make you eat garbage. I mean, come on. This is the reality we're living in. And anybody who wants to talk about saving a culture that can't fix these simple little things, that can't get any of these equations correct, they shouldn't be making a very aggressive argument in defense of human life when human beings can't seem to fix any of these simple equations and get the fucking numbers right and get the actions right and get the reward and punishments right.
Is you're supposed to hate the benign rapist, the lesser rapist, just as much as you hate the greater rapist.
Well, that's not what I was saying, so you're wrong about that. That would be silly. My point is that all of our proportions are way off. You shouldn't think that the one guy sticking a thermometer up my ass is the same as the guy who stuck a telephone pole up my ass. Those two people, I don't want them punished the same.
That does the extra shit. Okay? You hate them both the same.
No, I'm not saying that. No. I'm saying it should be based on the value. What is the harm? Killing Karen Ann Quinlan. What do I do when I kill a Karen Ann Quinlan? Okay, the difference you could even say between killing a 15-year-old and killing a 90-year-old. There's just a practical difference. What did I steal from the 90-year-old versus what did I steal from the 15-year-old who was just going to go on his first date? I mean, it's a huge difference. It's a factual difference. It's an actual difference. And we shouldn't pretend there's no difference.
And part of that is the way society treats natalists. They treat them like the lesser rapist.
No, you got it all way wrong. They treat them as if their expressions and their demeanor, like what clothes they're wearing, you measure the rapist by how dirty his clothes get, or some kind of completely irrelevant fact. Not a fact relevant to what kind of victim they leave behind. No, we'll just measure how much of a rapist he is based on how dirty he is after the fact. I mean, it's silly, the equations.
Right? That was the entire point he was making. The point that a lot of you guys, just completely failed to grasp.
Well, I'm sorry it's that complicated, right? See, obviously this guy sort of misunderstood the point too. So I'm sorry that somehow it was elusive to you that what I was really talking about is these fake values. And that you have to it's just kind of silly to say this is the same crime as this crime over here. Okay, because there's one guy dead. Right? So I shoot a gun straight up in the air and one of the bullets kills somebody. It's not exactly the same crime as I walk right up to the guy and shoot him right in the face. The intent isn't the same. The likelihood of the outcome isn't the same. All of these things aren't the same. That's what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is society often seems that it's doing exactly the opposite. The guy shooting in the air is somehow the worst criminal in the world, and the asshole who walks right in your face and shoots you is somehow benign.
As for the drowning kittens, like, I don't...
Okay, so what I said was, you can think about different things. It's there's this idea that, our discomfort with the idea of extermination, for example, as a solution. Well, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Who wants to do it that way? It'd be really nice if everything just slowly lives its life out, gets gracefully exited. When everything's 90 years old, it all gets to have a graceful exit and die. That's not the real world, though. It's not even close to the real world. We can't even provide that for human beings, let alone provide that for animals. So it's not pragmatically anywhere near a realistic possibility of writing the story of the end. And the only way you're going to write this story in any kind of rational way is that you're going to have to do this horrible thing where you do something that's not horrible in any real way, right? I mean, nearly instantaneous death takes 10 seconds to die, maybe? How many seconds is too many seconds, right? I mean, in the context of real suffering, when we know that human beings every day, right now, suffer hours and days and weeks and months. And we're just talking about 10 seconds where you have to, go through some discomfort. At the most. That's just a fact. That's the reality. It's a quick death is a quick death. It's a good death when it's quick. That's one of the things that makes a death good, is to make it as short as possible. The process of dying. So yeah, we have to accept this unpleasantness of having to exterminate something. There's something infested. And you think you can solve the infestation problem by gracefully going around and picking up each one of the infestites and, taking them outside and petting on the head and singing Born Free or something. It's not a practical solution. Okay, so what is going to be your solution? Because the rest of the options have to do something with extermination. You're going to have to try to make them all die. And you just want to do it as quickly as possible. That's the only option you've got. All right, so I brought up the cat metaphor because, people do this horrible thing and putting cats back on the street after they do surgery on them, think they did them a huge big favor. I love cats. Well, this is again like a Christian's love. I don't want to be loved by you because you're frankly sadistic in your fucking love, okay? You don't love what's important, which is my welfare. You love that I just exist somehow. I mean, if you can't do better than that, if you can't take care of me and prevent me from harm and keep me safe, fuck you. This is abandoning the mentally ill on the streets to eat garbage. You're not doing them a favor. Oh, let's give them some Prozac and throw them on. It's the same thing, right? There's no real fucking difference. We love you. Here's some Prozac. Go eat garbage. Fuck. So anyway, I just tell, these people who don't. So the point I'm making is, I always thought, how horrible it is to throw a bag of kittens into a stream. I always thought so. But then when I thought about it, I say, well, what else are you going to do? I mean, it's a relatively quick end. Hypothermia, suffocation, drowning. Drowning's not the worst way to die, frankly. It's not the best. It'd be really nice if we could freely go to the place and get the little stuff and inject the kittens and put them to sleep in a nice, graceful manner. I don't even like the way they put animals to sleep, right? Because they do use a chemical that does cause some convulsions. I mean, it's not a perfect end, actually. I'd rather they just put them to sleep and then kill them. But what is somebody supposed to do? What's your grand solution? So, there's pregnant cats circling this house all the time. And I just dread the day, right? Because I just don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want it. I can't emotionally deal with it. Because what do, asshole? Can you afford to take care of them? And then what does taking care of them mean? Oh, you have to inject them with a bunch of shots. They're going to have, some of them are going to be defective and probably all going to die anyway, no matter what you do. They're going to get pneumonia or some other thing. You're going to have to watch that process. Or you give them to some organization, right, that has a guy that's got a 60 IQ, that sweeps up the place. And you're going to show up with a bunch of kittens. What are they going to do with them? If they raise them, they have to sterilize them, inject them, do all that kind of crap, and then put them in cages to see if somebody will pick them up. And guess what? Nobody picks them up. There's more there's more wild cats. There's more cats than are people who want cats. It's just a fact. And millions of them have to be destroyed all the time. So what are you going to do? You're just going to put your cats in some sort of competition with the other cats. So maybe my new cats, my new bag of kittens, they'll be prettier kittens, and so then some other cat is going to have to be euthanized. I mean, what are your solutions? Okay, don't tell me that you find it offensive. Tell me, what's your better fucking answer in the world that exists? This is a practical matter. There's no money. There's no resources. There's no nothing. There's nothing. You fuckers, because you wasted all the money on your precious $10 million dog. Your dog from Bosnia that survived falling off a 10-story building or something trying to rescue a Tweety bird. Yes, and so we have the miracle dog, and so we have to spend $10 million shipping him all over the world to have special brain surgeries, and put a contraption on him because he's only got one leg left, and blah, 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 and all this other bullshit. That's what you people waste the money on, you fucking idiots.
Anyone that thinks it's practical or pragmatic to go around rounding up kittens and putting them in a bag and drowning them or killing them or doing whatever.
Yeah, what are you going to do with them? Just give me your alternative answer. Tell me what exactly the master fucking plan is, asshole. My point is it's not the perfect solution, but frankly, it's better than your institutional solution. Your institutional solution will only cause the animal more harm, suffering, pain, and then ultimately death anyway. And how is it going to live for the 6 or 12 months that you might buy it life? It's going to live in a dirty, filthy cage. All of those 12 months. It's not going to know any other fucking life than living in a fucking tiny little fucking cage, you fucking cunt. So don't give me your fucking preaching about, oh, this is just so awful that I defended something that where there really isn't any better alternative. And none of you offer the better alternative. You're just so full of shit that you think it exists in some magical world that doesn't fucking exist. This is the world that exists. Explain to me rationally what your real solution is to any of these fucking problems. And then tell me I'm a violent lunatic, you fucking cunts. I mean, these people with no answers, they will not accept an answer unless it's perfect. Well, as I stated in the video, there are no fucking perfect answers. Of course, I would choose the perfect answer if there was a perfect fucking answer. But there isn't, you fucking idiots. You fucking delusional, phantasmagorical fucking anime characters. You non-real, phony, fake, cartoon-watching, game-playing, fucking immature douchebags. You're all of 21.7 years old, and you figured everything out. Fuck you! You haven't spent 10 minutes thinking like a practical scientist about what the actual solutions are. You fucking pieces of shit, and then you'll fucking label me something? Fuck you! Yeah, so... God... such douchebaggery around this subject. So anyway, as I pointed out before, I really don't like the word antinatalist. That's why I chose another one, because I'd rather say anti-life, I'd rather say pro-extinction, I'd rather say death to DNA. How about that? Prevention. Maybe we just call it prevention. Prevent everything. There, I could call it that. I'm a prevent everythingist. Yes, prevent the whole fucking universe. If we can unplug the whole fucking universe, it has no hope of doing anything smart. It has no brain, okay? It's not even Karen Ann Quinlan, right? It's Karen Ann Quinlan without a fucking head. That's the universe. What the fuck do you think that thing's going to do? We could leave that thing plugged in for a zillion trillion years, and it's not going to do a goddamn thing but get smelly. So yes, I'm an anti-universist. I'm an anti-something, but not this stupid natalist word, because it's, number one, it's not even directly related to procreation. It's about suckling and doing nataling is a lot more than just having a baby. But anyway, and these people are, again, they don't have my agenda. They don't have my values. Why should I cherish them? Why, And this is all from some Discord little private hole in the wall, where they all have a little private club somewhere and are deciding what these words mean. I couldn't give a shit about that. Make arguments or shut the fuck up. And their arguments suck. Telling me I'm pro-violence? Fuck you in the ass till fucking goddamn dead, you lying sack of shit. I've never advocated a violent act, ever. Unless it's the only fucking choice. And I've never made any video where I told anybody, well, look, if you can just pinch the balloon, right? We're trying to pop a balloon, right? If you can just go pinch it, by, I don't know, shitting on your neighbor's head or something, yeah, go ahead and do that. No, you either pop the balloon or you don't do anything. Yeah, you don't kill anybody or any soldier or anything until you can do it right. Until we can do it right, don't do anything at all. Unless you can finish the job, you don't start the job. It's really one of the first rules of a job is, you're not likely to get a good result if you don't intend to finish what you started. Anyway. So, fuck these people. I just don't know how they control. They are the rulers of the subject. Fine, go ahead and be rulers of your own little cabal, but don't in some way obligate me to join or in some way form myself into one of you hypocrites, one of you simpletons, one of you fairy heads, one of you snowflakes. I mean, it does smell of that, frankly. As much as, again, I'm on the side of the social justice worrying, a very good thing to do. But if your social justice is some deluded perception that you have the magical answer, and there isn't anything in the answer box, fuck you. Oh, give everybody an infinite amount of money and an infinite amount of vitamins and an infinite amount of everything good. Yeah, any asshole can say something that stupid. Why don't you say something that's going to deal with the real world, not the fantasy world you wish we lived in. That's for Piros. Piros talk about things as if we're going to go to the world perfect. We're going to just migrate to perfect land. No, it ain't going to happen that way. No chance. You're going to have to accept shitty solutions, not perfect solutions. So anyway, enough said, I guess. Blah, blah, blah. Fake controversy, fake drama, fake everywhere. Like I said, I didn't even know these people existed. I don't care. They're not compelling my intense interest. They're not creating these vital memes. They're not doing any of this shit. It's all a bunch of unquoted brilliant people somewhere. Oh, they're all so knowledgeable on the subject that you can't find a paragraph of text that says anything. It's like the whole Schopenhauer phenomenon. Oh, what a brilliant blah, blah, blah. You did all this blah, 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 blah. Where's the fucking brilliant quotes? I haven't seen any. Life is a little poopy. I think he maybe said that. My mother's a skanky whore, but she won't give me any more money. Said that. Whatever. Yeah, it's so quotable. Forget it. Whatever. It's about the argument and making one, fuckheads. Not just slandering somebody. And so, fuck you. I don't advocate violence. Find where I did such a thing. Go ahead. Except as, what else are you supposed to do? People are just so fucking stupid. Anyway, till the next time and such. Calm now. It's okay. No big deal. Just go off and do your little thing. Go ahead. Go do your little antinatalism club thing. Go ahead. It's all very cute. Go ahead. I bet it's going to be built out of gingerbread. Ugh. The sacred vagina text. Maybe that'll be on the wall. Aye.